Hello, how are you doing? Yes, the last video was supposed to be all one, but everything worked out just right because I finished the last one, and that was the explanation of the thing that happened to me that helped me to see art better. It was an experience, it was an event. And a friend of mine came from, let me see, let me put this out. Uh, oh, wow. If I can get this out the way. Okay. And a friend of mine he came from Denver to visit his parents, and I was here, so he came to visit me, and we went out to have lunch, so I had to stop abruptly. And it was really nice because I got to see my friend, and we had lunch, and that's why I stopped the other video. I wanted to be all one, but it's going to be two, which is good too because I had finished about my event. If you follow the other YouTubes that I did on this section, then you will know that sorry, and then you will get the information that you need to understand each YouTube. So this one is now. So I finished the one on Lavender Miss, um, the education of this masterpiece already. So this one now I'm going to talk about, which I said I was going to do it at the end of the last YouTube, but like I said, natural occurrences or whatever you want to talk. Say it worked out fine because I had just finished that video and that information. I was getting ready to get into the last of what I said was going to be the last part, but I'm doing it now in the YouTube. So this one is going to be on on mastering the technique or mastering the technique of viewing masterpieces at the National Gallery of Art. But to tie in everything, my experiences that happened to me that I explained in the last YouTube, how they connect to this and the reason why I was able to see Lavender Mist better was the fact that what I came up with analyzing everything for you all was the fact that I was constantly exposed to new information every time. Of course, I don't think I would have been able to tear things apart if I didn't have what I explained in the last video, which I can't really get into everything. So, because this one has to be a certain amount of time also. And I explained about myself and how I'm able to process information. By accident it happened, but I explained it in the last YouTube. So that's why I'm able, excuse me. So that's why I'm able to see things and tear things apart. It's something, a talent that I acquired since I was a kid. And I explained that in the last YouTube. So now I'm going to tie this in. I'm going to show you by having those experiences, the experiences that happened to me helped me is because I was able to I process information and I'm able to how can I say, okay, during the events that occurred in that story was the fact that I was constantly not knowing what was going not knowing what was going to happen next. Okay. I'm doing this one. I'm sorry, but I have to get this out the way. I mean, there's other things I have to do, but this is the most important to me right now. And so now I'm just like getting my grips so we can finish this YouTube. So the things that happened to me, it was like I didn't know what was going to happen the next minute and what was going to happen from 1 minute to the next. Like if you've seen the YouTube, you can see that in the position that I was in, I had something, then I didn't have something. I had a friend. Some things were nice, like when my friend told me he loved me. I mean, I'm just talking about the most beautiful love. It has nothing to do with sex or anything. And that was another thing. That was another occurrence. How when people say something really nice to you, how do you process it? But it is something. And then from there, constantly moving from one campsite to the next. The people that I met, I mean, I didn't know what they were going to do. I didn't know what to expect. Things were happening to me in the background that was really bad that I didn't even realize. But yet I constantly was having changes. Constantly things were occurring. It wasn't like like for instance, now I have a schedule. I'm working. I do the same thing every day. It's like a routine. Yes, it's still a danger there, but I'm always doing the exact same thing that I did before. So I'm learning things, but at a slower pace. But when I was in that circumstance that I expressed last YouTube, things were constantly changing. My friends were constantly changing. I didn't know if I was going to have the same friend from one day to the next, from 1 hour to the next. I didn't know what was happening. I was telling you about this one place I was working. It was no clear view of what I had to do when I was working in the field with all the floodlights or whatever. The one I told you was like a stage. I mean, I was working there for what, close 7 hours or maybe 5 or 6 hours, but still and yet I didn't know what I was doing from one time to the next. I mean, even with the gasoline, I didn't. Somebody helped me out. I mean, say if I had lit the match and there was gasoline. I mean, there's so many things. That's a big deal too. A lot of times when we're saved from things by other people, I mean, it's an occurrence that we don't realize, and it's a big thing. Like, for instance, say if you're crossing the street and somebody pushes you back. I mean, oh, be careful of that car, or be careful here, how we need each other. I mean, it's still a big occurrence, even though you're saved from it, okay? So that's what I believed helped me to understand Lavender Mist better, is the fact that I was in a state and I got to develop a part of myself to where things were happening. Different things were happening and I was processing them constantly. And because I was able to process them and I acquired that, I'm able to explain it to you. However, if I didn't have that talent that I was telling you in the last YouTube, if I didn't have that talent, if I didn't acquire that talent, I would never be able to explain certain things. It would just had happened. I have the talent, now I can understand the painting better, but I wouldn't be able to express it to you, okay? So now this leads into, to me, the most important aspect of the YouTube, and that is the art of mastering the viewing of viewing masterpieces at the National Gallery of Art. I say the National Gallery of Art because I'm making this, I came up with, it's not a theory or anything, it works. I came up with a way in which, if you would like to, you can become a master at viewing masterpieces. I made it masterpieces like paintings, sculptures, and reliefs, things like that. And I'm basically talking about the art at the National Gallery of Art. The reason why I make it specific to this gallery is the fact that I'm able to do it since I am in the Washington metropolitan area. And I made the plan for that. If it was another gallery, it would be really, really a different program. It would entail more and it would take longer. So because of the way that you have to do things, it's hard for me to explain because a lot of it is internal. Things that you have to study, everything that you do to obtain this quality is done internally, okay? I already started it because I'm already familiar with the way of learning. So I didn't know how I was going to do it. I was just going to give you hints at first on how you can become a master viewer of art at the National Gallery of Art. But I keep saying that because I want you to know that the program or the things that I'm telling you is for this art museum only. I've been to other art museums and I pretty much rely on the curator or the people who take care of this museum. I draw off of their process and their work. So if you try and do this at another gallery, even at the Met, I've been to the Met in New York, it won't work. So I'm just trying to tell you that it's specific for this area because a lot of it, yes, is, I mean, everybody has a museum, but nobody has the same unless the curator or the people who put it together does the other museums, which is highly unlikely. I mean, the person maybe have something to do with it, but everybody that put together things and maintain the things at the National Gallery of Art are not the same people that do the exact same thing at the Whitney in New York City. And I've been to the Whitney in New York City. If I give you this program and I say it's for the Whitney, then it would have to be specific for the Whitney. If I do it for all museums, it wouldn't make any sense because this is the part of thinking. Is the fact that I would have to be drawing on the work or the responsibilities of everybody who took care of these museums. So I'm trying to get you to understand that the National Gallery of Art, yes, it's in Washington, D.C., but there's people and very intelligent people and very passionate people that put this art museum together. So I draw or I make this program off of those people. It's very important. I spend a lot of time on explaining that. So because it is important and those people are important. Wait, is this thing working? Yes, it's still going on. I don't want to be doing all that talking and then it's not on record. Okay, so this is this is how to become, and it works 100%, how to become a master viewer of art at the National Gallery of Art. Okay, the first thing is best to do, and you have to follow the instructions because although everybody's different and there's many ways of doing things, you can do it your way, but there are rules. Like, they're just rules. The rules and the molding of the rules are the things that allow you or show you the things that you can do or to find the talent of becoming a master viewer of art. I haven't even heard this anywhere else, so maybe it's something that nobody else does, but I'm talking about being a master viewer of art, okay? In the way that I'm speaking about, I don't think it's false. I don't think that anyone else has it, but here we go. I'm sorry for that, but I don't like to skip. I don't like to cut things off and put it back on. It takes away some of the interest. So the first thing to do is you would have to, if you live far away, I'm sorry. I mean, you know, you're not paying for this. You have to put something in. Everything I've learned, I put something in it. So if you have to travel to get to do this, which is not that much, it's maybe once a year or once a year and a half if you want to do that, but to extend the process. I'm sure you can get this mailed to you if you're not in the area, but it's the map. First, you need the map of the National Gallery of Art. And I did it too. So I know, so the reason why I did it because I wanted to see what's happening instead of just making the program and knowing that it's going to work. I wanted to see what is happening while I'm doing the first stage, you know. So the first thing is having the map and looking and finding something of interest that interests you, okay? Because you're going to view one section of the art museum. That's where you have a freedom. You can visit any complete section of the art of this art museum. And I'm going to tell you what I did so you can get the feel for what you're supposed to do. And if you don't understand rules, you just have to understand what the rules are. What rules are. If you don't understand rules, you can go all the way through the whole program, and it takes a while, okay? I'm not going to say how long it takes yet. I'll mention it later. It takes a while, but if you're a person that doesn't follow the rules or think that you're so smart, or you have a degree, or you have a PhD, which is beautiful that you do, but if you think you know too much, and then you go through it's 12 years. I'll explain that later, but it's a long time. And you go through and you put all this time into it, and then you have nothing that's obtained. It's because you didn't follow certain rules, and it's not really that many rules, or else you thought that you knew everything, and you thought that you figured it out, but you pretty much didn't figure it out, okay? And then you go through all this time and you don't have anything, okay? But if you do it the right way, in the way I tell you, okay, and you do it your own way, but you just have to follow certain rules. And one of the rules is having a map, okay? There's a person or people that make this map. And that's why it cannot be with other museums, because this is the one I did it for this museum. If it was another map, and I've seen the map at, a friend of mine showed me a map at the French, Louvre, they made me pronounce it like that, French Louvre, and it would be totally different, okay? I would have to do one special for that, but I didn't. This is what I'm doing it on this one. Okay, so we find the map, okay? Then they have it sectioned off, okay? I'm drawing off of the way everything is done in this museum. Believe me, they spend a lot of money and a lot of time. So I'm actually utilizing the resources that they use, and that comes from our taxes. So you're actually using your own tax money, okay? So we have the West building, then we have the East building, okay? I would not deal with the East building because, first of all, another thing which is good to have in order to do this is you need you need a knowledge of art. You have to have an interest. If you're an art major, it's good. If you're an artist, that's good, because that's what's going to hold you to keep this program, okay? Also, you have to have at least art history or be familiar with something about art, okay? So that's gonna help you to be able to go through this and actually become a master viewer of the masterpieces at the National Gallery. The reason why I would start with anything other than the East building is because it also has something to do with history, okay? It makes the best foundation, because we learn about the things of the people that taught us things from their experiences, which was before us. So like forefathers, sort of, okay? So I'm telling you what I did, and that's the things that I did are actually encased in rules, because you have to do it the same way, but you can pick which one you want to go to. So when I first saw this, the first thing that hit my mind, there's a ground floor, which I didn't want to touch, although you would be able to do it, okay? That would start you off, okay? Like, for instance, it would say G1 through 69, and then 61. So that would be one subject or one group of galleries that you would have to do for that first year, okay? Now, what I did was because I've done this so much in my life. I was able to do 3 sections. I wouldn't say 3 sections. for everyone, but if you're really into a lot of art, if you have a lot of background in art and art history, then I would say, but it is still something new. How can I say? Don't overestimate yourself, okay? It's better to underestimate yourself than to overestimate yourself, because you can go through this years and then you don't have anything to show for it internally. The thing that makes you know that things are going just right is because you'll get levels and you'll understand the levels little by little, okay? So what I did, I started on the main floor. I wanted to know, what I was interested in was the centuries, okay? Maybe some people are more interested in the countries, okay? But you have to find the interest. So you have the interest and the galleries. So that's two different things. So it has a number. It has 1 through 13, which is the galleries. And then those galleries show the art from 13th to 16th century Italian paintings and sculptures. That's what interests me. Something else might interest you. So that's where you got your freedom, but there's still a rule. A rule is that you have to pick one section. I picked the one section, which is 1 through 13, and then the topic was 13th through 16th century Italian paintings and sculptures. And I started with 13, but you had to finish the whole section. It doesn't have to be chronologically, but as long as you finish the whole section. My suggestion is to know where the main part is when you go in, because when I went through 1 through 13, I noticed that after 13, after I had just finished that section, that I was getting kind of woozy. I mean, it's a lot of material, but there's a lot of things you're not doing. The only thing you have to do is view each masterpiece. View the masterpieces. I noticed also, you want to notice the framing. It's like a side point, but you don't have to get too much into it yet. But notice a little bit about the painting. I mean, not the painting. You don't want to know anything about the painting. You don't want to concentrate on any artists. You don't want to read anything. The only thing you're looking at is just the painting. You're viewing the painting or glancing, okay? Glancing or viewing, either one. It has to be done this way. Don't read anything, because you're coming in through the back door. As I go on, you'll understand better. But for right now, you have to right now, I'm just going to say like we're there and we're doing 1 through 13. Right now, you have to get through galleries 1 through 13. And if you were doing it, making money, okay, you would know, and you had a set time schedule, you know that you can't sit there and read anything. Anyway, you're not supposed to read anything. The only thing you're supposed to do is view the paintings. You can kind of look at I want you to notice the frames, the sculptures. Yes, I went around the sculptures. If it was in the center, if I was able to go around them, I went around them. The reliefs, you know how a relief is. If you don't know, you have to look it up. You want to do like an angle or whatever to the relief, okay? If you want to do that. But basically, I viewed everything in the room. Each room should not take no more than 5 minutes. I mean, but that's up to you, okay? It's up to you, and it's not up to you, because you can't read anything, and you have to do it at a certain distance. You can't see the painting. You can't see details in paintings. If you look at the details, and you're missing the whole point. Later on, another year is the details, but you don't want to do details yet, okay? Everything is viewing from afar, not that far, but it depends on how you do it. and you just view it or glance the painting, each painting or sculpture or relief that's in the gallery, okay? Another thing you need is patience. There's other people. You have to respect other people. So you have to have a lot of respect for people. You can't go on in thinking that you're the only one in the whole world or only one in the gallery. That won't work either. So you need patience. You need respect for other people, kindness, politeness, okay? And then you have to make it through. You have to make it through. If you take too much of a long time, you're defeating the purpose, and that's something entirely different. If you go through the gallery and you're stopping and you're looking at this or you're looking at that, then you're defeating the purpose. You have to go through the gallery in a certain kind of way, knowing that you have to go from one gallery to the next. And I went through one gallery, 1 through 13, okay? You don't want to put a time limit on it, but you don't want to take too much time. Like I said, you're defeating the purpose and you're not doing it the right way. If you sit and you look at details, if you read anything about who the artist is, you're still not doing it the right way. So I'm really explaining this so that you can't really make a mistake with these fundamental rules that I'm explaining, okay? You have a lot of freedom in that you can see what you want to when you want to. You can go to any gallery that you want at any time, but you have to complete the 1 through 13. That's an example, 1 through 13. After I finished 13, I was like kind of baffled. I mean, not baffled, but I was kind of like disoriented a little bit because I have viewed so many paintings. And like I said, you have to be polite. Maybe somebody's in front of the painting and you have to be polite and you have to be patient until they kind of move. Or maybe you have to move around and just glance at it at a different area. But make sure you get in each painting. Another thing to watch for is if there are architectural things of architecture in the galleries. You want to that's not that important, but you want to glance at that because after a while everything is going to come into play, okay? So like I said, after 13 I was like not tired, but a little bit disoriented because you have to follow the map, okay? You have to follow the map. You have to have a map because anything can happen. And then I found, because I was kind of like, when I got to 13, I did so many paintings, and I knew I had to go into a different area, and I was like, where am I, But the most important thing is when you get disoriented or something, because there's so much information, you want to just relax, you want to do what you would do. You want to do what you would do in life if you got a little bit disoriented. You know what I mean? It's just like work. What would you do? So this is the same thing. It's no big deal. I mean, it's nothing different than something else you do. So you have to think about, okay, wow. I mean, I just finished 13. Or maybe you didn't finish 13. Maybe you got up to 6 galleries. And you felt a little bit disoriented, okay? Well, you got to do what you would do in life and get back to it. But you have to go through one section as stated in this map, okay? And it's specific to this, and I'm going to keep mentioning it because it's very important. It's specific to the museum and this map, okay? And I'm going. And another reason why I'm going along with this program is the fact that things might change, and I'm going to be there. So I'm going to go through the 12 years with you. The first year, like I said, I already did my first viewing. Okay. So you finished the 13. Okay, and I'm going to see if I can come up. You finished the 13. Okay, that's the most important thing. Maybe yours might be downstairs, G22 through, let me see. Oh no, it has to be a sizable amount, okay? So maybe like downstairs you would have to put two things together, but it has to be a sizable amount, at least 10 to 15 galleries, which includes one area or one subject, okay? So like I said, okay, so if you finish one of your sections, okay, you have a choice, okay? Um, I didn't, but most likely anyone else would have to, is take a break, okay? I waited until 17 through 28, okay? I did another section, but I wouldn't do that, okay? But it depends, okay? If you're really into a lot of art history, then you can do the two sections, okay? But what I prefer, and especially if you never did it before, which most people never did it before, you can't. I don't. It's in my mind, so you couldn't have done it before. So 1 through 13. After 1 through 13, it's a good time to take a break. Okay. Um, you could take a break and finish right there, and then that's going to stay for 1 year, okay? Because then you're going to go back and build on that, okay? But what a lot of people who are really familiar with art and art history, are in the business or whatever, you can go back to another one which I wanted, which was 17 through 28. I did 17 to 28, 16th century Italian, French, and Spanish paintings, sculptures. Let me see to make sure, okay? So now I'm looking on the map. I look at the sections, and then I'm looking on the map. So I did actually go through 13. I remember that. And it was in the middle of, as far as the galleries are concerned, the next section began on 17. So it was 13, and then the next section went to 17 through 28. Like I said, I would go on a break there, take your time, and then come back if you want to do another section. But one section has to be done first. You have to at least finish a section, and then pretty soon I'm going to tell you why. So then I went from 17, which I said is too much for somebody who's never done it before. So I would take a break at 13. I took a coffee break. If you smoke, take a cigarette break or whatever. Leave the area, come out of the hallway, find out where you are, and then come back. Then, which I didn't, but I'm saying it's best to, then I came back and did 17 through 28, 16th century Italian, French, and Spanish paintings, sculptures, and decorative art. And then I came back and I did that. Okay? Okay, then I would come back and do that. But like I said, I did both sections. I was a little bit disoriented at 12, but I knew what was happening because it happened to me so many times. But I'm saying if it happens to you there, just do what you would do in any situation. It's the same thing. And a lot of times you wouldn't know it's the same thing, but it is pretty much the same thing. What would you do? Take a seat, walk away, okay? Relax, okay? So anyway, so then coming back, I would do 17 through 28. Or is it 26? Okay. 17 through 26. That's two sections. And that is if you are really into art and you have a lot of art history down, okay? Because now you have two sections, okay? So we're encompassing, which I gotta add, you're encompassing three things that come together. And that's what's the confusion might cause a lot of people, is that you have the map, you have where you are in the building, actual building, and you have the paintings that you're constantly viewing. So that's like three things that are coming together. And if you don't keep those three things in order, you're going to get a little bit disoriented, but it's no big deal because you just relax. Okay. if you relax, if you stop in between a section, then you have to stop completely, because that whole section should be done at one time. Okay, there's so many things in life that you have to take a break sometime. I mean, because you're building up this. So if I find out it's too much for me in the beginning of, like, if I did six galleries, that's a lot too. And I found it was overwhelming. That's the only time you can come back before the year is up. Okay, so say if I'm not really in, if I don't really have a big background and I can't take the fact of viewing so many paintings at once, and it's totally different than just people walking in and as you used to do in an art museum, and you don't really know what you're doing. It's more fun for now, and you don't really know what you're doing, so you're just like just doing what you're doing. You don't even know where it goes. But that's something totally different. We're talking about building something now. So if I get through six and I viewed six and I get disoriented or I can't take it, well, what I would say is, okay, I have to come back another day. Okay, so don't come back. Wait a week. Wait 2 weeks. But you keep doing it. Don't do it like one day after another. It's not that strenuous. It's just something that you do for fun, really. And it's really more like a game for now. It's a game until you acquire this ability. When you acquire the ability, it becomes very powerful for something good, okay? So anyway, I'm at six and I can't handle it. It's too many views. Because you have the views, you have where you are, and the map. You have to have the map in hand. There's also a little safeguard, which when I got a little bit disoriented, I found out is that in each gallery they have like a number of where you're at. So that's another thing that they helped me out. So if I got through six and I couldn't go through 13, I would discontinue. I would disconnect or whatever. Go to the lobby, enjoy myself, relax, and then just say, I have to do this another time. You know what I mean? And then maybe the next time or the third time that you do it, maybe you might make it through. Maybe you might make it to 10, where you gotta do the whole thing. So you're building up something. So then you have to come back, maybe after 3 months, come back and then wait and be patient with yourself. That's where the patience is yourself. You have to be patient with yourself until you can handle this ability. Okay? Some people it's going to be easy, but they can't go overboard. Some people can go right through 13, but I'm telling you, I don't care how much you know, if you can go through 13, stop. Okay? Unless you're like a art major or something. The reason why I could do it, because I've been doing this all the time, okay? But if you're an art major, I would still stop at 13 and then come back to do 17 to 28. Or like I said, do your section, do another section, the first section, but make sure the section has at least 10 to 15 galleries. If it doesn't have 10 to 15 galleries, or you can kind of, if it has more space, then that's something too. If it has more, if the galleries are really big, then you can pretty much count maybe that's an average of 3 galleries, but that's where you kind of balance things and use your common sense. So you could pretty much fix out what you want to use as your first gallery, as your first session, but you have to complete, the sections have to be completed, like for instance, okay? And like I said, I completed 13th and 16th century Italian paintings and sculptures, and I did the 16th century Italian, French, and Spanish paintings and sculptures and decorative arts. So then after I finished that, of course, I was gone. And I knew I had to take a break, but I wanted to do more, okay? The reason why I did it was because I wanted to go through what you all will go through, okay? And I'm going to continue, and it's going to benefit me also. So then I went down and I had coffee, and something to eat, and I went outside and I had a cigarette. Yes, I smoke, but and then I came back. Then I felt good. I just relaxed and everything. Okay. Then I felt much better. Okay. And then and then there was one when I okay. I'm not going to talk about when I came back. So then, okay, no. Then I came back. Okay. When I came back, I wanted to do another section. Okay. It was a small section, so I added another section. So that's another thing. So because I wanted to have 3 sections, at least 3 sizable sections, okay? And because the third section I had, the third topic was small, and it entailed 29 through 34, and then 36 and 37. So that was pretty small. So I added a small one over at 52. So that's how you have to do things, kind of balance it out. And with that, I got about 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Then I got about 8. Okay, but I have the reason why 8 was good for me. I'm almost sure I did at least 8. Oh no. I did 8. I did still made that section at least 10 to 15. Okay. So I did 1, 2, 3, 4, and I noticed that in the third section that I did, it was shortened because they closed off rooms. When there are closed off rooms, you got to make a mental note of it, but no paperwork. You do no paperwork. You do no notes. You write down nothing, because everything is going to be in a certain level of intelligence that it doesn't entail pen or paper or reading. So in order for you to do it right way, just make a mental note of, make a pretty big mental note that this section was closed off. And I made a note to myself because I couldn't get into some of the paintings. So I made a mental note of, hey, I can't get into this. And I made a mental note. I followed it, or I tried to figure out what was missing, as far as the space is concerned. I didn't know which, exactly all the paintings. They said some of them were downstairs, but I didn't want to go downstairs. I just said to myself, well, I have to draw from another section. So I went over to 52, and you got to get this map, okay? So I went over to 52, and I know 52 was just one gallery. And then I added from 52, okay, so 52 is 18th and 19th century Spanish and French paintings. So I did that gallery, and that was just one. And I still know that each section has to be at least 10 to 15, give or take. So I went over to early 16th, or let me see, early 18th and early 19th century paintings and sculptures. So then I went over to that one, and it's funny. Let me see, did I do that? Yes, I did that. And I noticed because I had to cross over the hallway, because like I said, you have to follow what you say on the map. You cannot, another thing too, you can't make up things from seeing things all of automatically. You want to do it, but you can't do it. That's another rule. You can't do it. Like for instance, there was one artist that they had a lot of advertisements for, and I wouldn't do it because you're messing up you're messing up the way that you're learning now. So you got to stick to what like I said, this has to be pre-interest. Like it has to be your interest from not seeing anything at the gallery at all. It has to be like what you see on this map and how they divided it, what you feel you want to be your sessions, and you have to go through those sessions. So I had planned to do the 52, okay? And when I found out that those other things were closed, I had to augment to make another section. So, like I said, I went over to 52. It was only one gallery. Then I had to cross back over to 53. Oh no, it was 84. It was okay. This is what I did. I didn't do 18th and early 19th. I didn't do that one. I actually went to, because I had thought about it before. I mean, before, like I said, I had planned it before I went to the museum the way you're supposed to do it. My third section would be 19th century French paintings. I specifically wanted that. And that's what I got as the next section. And when I went into that section, I found out that it didn't start at the lowest number. They didn't start at 80, 81, 82, 83. It started, when I walked in, it started on 84. No big deal. Well, what you do, I mean, you have to be flexible. You have to, that's another thing. You have to make your mind, you have to figure out that it's no big deal. I mean, if 84 comes before 81, you're not going to walk all the way to 80. I mean, if you're in 86, the gallery from the hallway, and 80 is on the other side, you have to walk to 80. You're not going to walk to 80 and then come out. It's not like that. It doesn't work out. It doesn't work like that. You can actually, I walked in at 84, and I went through 83, and then I went through 83, and then 81, 82, and then I reached 80, because 80 was in the back. So then I came out, and then I came back, and then they had 86. So the numbers are not like, you don't want to go crazy. You don't want to say, oh, I have to do 1, 2, 3, 4. You want to do the section. It's up to you, just as long as you get that section done. And then after I finished that section, I was finished. You can't go through anything else, because like your mind, or just as a level of intelligence, it has to go through, and it goes through it automatically without you even realizing. Some people realize it. I feel it because I've done it so long. It goes through a shaping, or it goes through it's something new, so it goes through something. And that's why you want to take your time with yourself, because your mind or your abilities are going to start sorting. It's going to start doing this. It's going to start adapting and things like that. But you want it to be a nice process. So that's why I'm telling you the way to do it right. When I was finished, maybe I wanted to do more. I saw some things that I wanted to see, but I knew what I had already done. So I took my time and I said, it's finished, it's over. Thank you very much. I mean, I had a great time. I enjoying all these people. These people work to do this. They put this thing together. It's a lot of information, okay? A lot of people with degrees, they've been through years of experience. They've been here, they've been there. And you're learning something off of what they, for their resources that they use, okay? Actually, our resources, since it's something that America offers. And that's it. So I'm saying that you finish so the first thing to do is you get your map, okay? And like I said, it's specific for, it's specific, my words are getting all mixed up. I'm getting like, I did so many time on YouTube, it's kind of like fluttering me. But the National Gallery of Art, okay, it's for the National Gallery of Art. So the first thing I did was get the map. Then after you get the map, you have to go over it, figure out your sections, go over this over and over again. And then, like I said, do your first section, okay? If you just have one section and then come back the next year, you can build on that, okay? But if you just want to do one section, that's good, because you have a life. I mean, I also made this so that, because I know you have a life, you have things that you have to do. So you want to keep this as a game, or you want to keep it as something refreshing, so that you can add it and it won't affect the rest of your life, okay? And then I did two sections. I took a break. But only do two sections, like I said, if you are really into art. And preferably if you have art history, you need something concrete. in order to do this, okay? Because like I said, you can go through 6 years or you can go through 5 years and you won't get the benefit, okay, if you do it the wrong way. Another thing is then I took a break, definitely after 2. Okay, I wanted to take a break after the first one, but like I said, you have to finish a section. I finished 2. If you finish 2, that's more than enough for that year. Okay, no pencil, no paper, no reading at all. You don't even want to think about the artist whatsoever. Later on, that comes. You're coming in through the back door, okay? You're glancing or viewing each painting in each gallery. You're taking account of a little bit about the framework, because that's going to be added later on, but that's not important. A little bit about the architecture, the room, the gallery a little bit, but the most important is just viewing. You have to make it through comfortably a whole section, okay? So like I said, I did 3 sections. Now, since most people are not going to do the 3 sections, don't do the 3 sections, okay? I would say 2 at the most. There's no need for you to do 3 sections. I did 3 sections because I've done this so many times. I mean, it's so much, but because I know how to do it and I know exactly where I'm at when I'm doing it. But don't feel like, oh, I'm going to be smarter than him. It's not that I'm smarter than you or you're smarter than me. It's just that this is my concentration. This is what I've been working on. Something that you do, if you're an artist or if you have an art major, there's things that you do, a lot of things that you do that I can't handle. But we're just talking about being a master viewer of art, okay? A master viewer, okay? We're not talking about being an artist or anything like that. We're talking about a master viewer of art, okay? So like I said, after the first section is the best, but if you want to do 2 and you have a major or something like that, that's all I would recommend, is to do those 2 sections, okay? Now, I'm going to explain why we do the sections. You're making a 1, okay? Everything is 1, okay? I'm not saying everything is 1. When I say everything is 1, don't take it so seriously. I mean, you don't have to live by it. I mean, I know people, especially Americans, is when they get one idea, they want to make money off of it, or they want to build a religion. No, it's not that. Don't make a religion off of anything, okay? I mean, like, oh, I learned this from him. Oh, now I can, or I learned this from doing this. Now I want to make a religion, get followers. No, it's nothing to do that, because then you're gonna miss the rest of the lesson. You're gonna mess up for yourself and everybody else. Okay, you're gonna hurt up a lot of people. Okay, so what I'm trying to say is just keep it's 1. I'm just talking about specifically for this thing that we're doing, becoming a master viewer of art at the National Gallery of Art. That's all I'm talking about. No other museum. Okay. If you do anything else, if you try and do it to another museum, it has nothing to do with what I'm talking about. It didn't work. It won't work for you, okay? Because I made it specifically for this. So I'm saying you make a 1. What you're doing is you're making a 1. Maybe if I did it for the art, what do they call it? The Louvre. They told me to pronounce it like that. It would be totally different. Maybe it wouldn't be 1. It depends on their curator, their architecture, their building, the spacing of their paintings. I took everything into account. So that's why I say it's their 1, the 1 there. So you're making a 1, okay? If you do the section, that's your 1. That's why it's very important to finish that whole section. If you leave after 6 and you can't handle it, don't worry. Just wait, and that's the only time you can come back before the year is up. But it doesn't have to be a year. You could spend 2 years trying to get a 1. It's all right. You could spend 2 years, because you can't make it like the most important thing in your life. I mean, there's something that's most important thing in your life, but it's not anything to do with this, okay? Because like if you can't make it only up to 6 galleries, glancing the whole thing of 6 galleries, following all the rules, then that's just it. Then just take your time, Don't come back the next week. Don't come back the next month. You're building on it, and it takes about a good month or 3 months. Okay, like if I finish six, if I finish and everybody that's doing better or understands everything, I hope that you be patient with me talking to about everybody's aspects, because you'll benefit from, you can help other people, and you'll benefit more if you listen to how other people handle information who can't handle as much as you. And it's not because of that, maybe their life is bigger than yours. Okay, so what I'm saying is, so you have, if you only could do 6, okay, if you can only do 6 galleries and that's too much for you, you'll know, okay, then you just stop, okay, and you got something, but you're building on making a 1, okay. So maybe you come back after 3 weeks, okay, after not 3 weeks, I say at least a month, at least month, 2 months, 3 months, and maybe you can go up to 7 or 8, okay. Well, you got to keep doing it, and then just say after a year you still couldn't make one, you couldn't view one full section. Well, then that's good. Then you're really following the rules. And maybe it took you about a year and a half to finish to get a 1. And I'm talking about a 1, okay? You understand? I'm talking about specifically for this program. And maybe it takes you 1 year to, or 1 year and a half to do 1 section. Well, that's great. At least you made it. And then you can start from there, okay? And because you did it the right way, okay, then you'll benefit from it, and you won't be wasting your time. But if you don't follow the directions, you'll be going through this, and you'll be wasting your time, because you won't see the levels. You won't see the levels going up, and it's such a small level, and it's so unrecognizable that you will not see it if you do it the wrong way. I already know. I went through millions of mistakes, okay, until there's only one right way. Okay, so then after that, so that, and I said, I'm doing this with you. So I went through my first session, okay. I had 3 sections, of course, and like I said, if you're I wouldn't go more than 2 sections. I don't care how much you know or how much you think you know, don't do more than 2 sections, okay? Because it's impossible for you to have done it before, because it's in my brain. I mean, it's in my mind, and it's just the experiences that I had with this is that I know it's in nobody else's mind. So I'm sorry. Okay, you can think it is, but you'll be messing up. You'll be wasting your time trying to think that you know more than. I'm not saying that you don't know more than I do. I'm just saying I know best about the things that I do best at and what's in my mind, okay? So if you want to follow along, just follow the rules. It's the easiest rules in the world. And you got your kindness, you got, be kind to people. You got to be patient. You got to be courteous of people when you're in the room. So it entails all the nice qualities. So then after you finish your first section, you already know, most people will do 1 section and then forget about it, leave, okay? Wait at least a year or more. You'll know when you've been there. The best time, like I said, no paper, don't put anything on the calendar or anything else. You're going to mess up the section that you're in, the layer of intelligence that you're in. Because I'm talking about a layer of intelligence that you don't have yet, or it's not rendered to you, but it's there, but you're developing it, okay? So I'm saying that, so if you do the first section, let me get my bearings on where we're at now. Okay, so we're gonna do the 1 section, okay, and you're gonna make your 1, okay. And so now I was saying that you do 1 year, or most people will come back in 1 year. Okay, this is what I wanted to tell you. Now I remember. To remember where you've been or when your first year's up. Like if you go in September, just know where your birthday is. Try and figure out oh, this is before my birthday, close to my birthday, or something that happened to remember when your year is up. But it's no big deal. Most people can tell when a year is up. Like for instance, if Mine's mine was it's a little bit during my birthday, around the time area of my birthday, and it was in the first of the summer. So I know that I was there the first of the summer, okay? And most people are working, I mean, their mind is working well enough to know that they visited the National Gallery of Art. And that's another thing why the sections are at least around 15 galleries, because that's amount of information that you would not that would affect you enough. Okay, if you just do less than one, it's not going to affect you that much. Okay, and you're going to remember the year better. And like I said, you don't take any notes on anything whatsoever. If you're in a museum and somebody comes, the president or somebody, I don't care who it is, you're a movie star, just let it go. You still have to do it, okay? I mean, something like that, but not that drastic. But I'm saying if you see something like there was somebody, Italian painter that I wanted to see, they had advertisements, but I knew I couldn't think about that. I had to just keep doing the thing. If not, you're going to waste that day, okay? So then after 1 year, we're going to go back, okay? We're going to go back because I'm doing this with you. We're going to go back and do the next section, okay? Now the sections will change. It'll go from after 5 years, and I'm going to stay with this thing. After 5, you cannot do more than you cannot do one guide is that you cannot do more than 5 after the 5th year. Okay, so I'm going to realize when the 5th year is up, and anybody who's done more viewings than 5 after that 6 years is you're going to have to most likely start at the beginning again, because it's not going to work. I mean, I don't care what you say. If you're off timing that much, that means that it's not working for you, and you're gonna have to start back over again. Sorry, that's just the way it is for not following the rules. So after the 5th year, we're gonna find out that we cannot that we had to have only been through 5 viewings. Okay, and like I said, by the end of 12 years, the 12th year, I made it to where we will be master viewers of art at the National Gallery of Art, okay? And that's how it works, and that's what it is. And this took a lot of time. It might not seem like it does, but I drew a lot from this. It might seem crazy, but it's not crazy. It's definitely something that you probably haven't recognized before, but it is something that that will work. And now the only thing you could do is figure out is if you want to do this. I mean, it doesn't take up that much time. It doesn't really get into your life. It's made to where it's something that you can do to without changing your life at all. But the benefits of it is spectacular, okay? And one of the benefits is that you don't see one painting. Every painting that you viewed is important, okay? I'm going to tell you about the benefits after 12 years, but I'm almost sure we'll finish a little bit before 12 years, but I added on years for certain things that might occur at the gallery or whatever, okay? Some of the things is that you find out what your one is, okay? Your one is so important. And you'll find out how the knowledge that you learn as far as viewing paintings here, how it changes yourself and how it changes your concept of the viewing of paintings. You'll be able, like I said, each painting will be different. You'll be able to locate different paintings that you never thought before. You could be at home and you can know that, okay, yeah, I want to see that painting. You know, that painting, you don't have to have the painting in front for you. This is natural because the thing about it is that you're able, your mind wants it to be able to view a painting, wants to trigger something and view a painting that you viewed in number 3, and and put it together with a painting in your second year, and you say, oh, these two had the same reds in it, and go back and view the paintings and see it. So it's going to enable you to bring up paintings and aspects of paintings that you never thought that it would. You won't have to go through books and things like that. So this one went pretty long. And like I said, I wanted to be these two individual, but I'm glad that it worked out, thank God. I'm glad it worked out the way it was supposed to work out. So this became 2 videos. I never would do this much on one day. But it was enjoyable, and I hope you all got something out of it. Thank you very much for listening, and thank you for following this information. We all help each other. I know what my next one is going to be on. It's going to be on something totally different, but I'm not going to mention that because these are so packed with information. So I hope I get a lot of people in with me on doing this 12-year project. Thank you. Bye-bye.